This is my latest little short film about something I'm interested in and involved with. These are a small selection of my TV Batman custom action figures. A variety of sizes, as you can see, ranging from kind of 8-inch Mego style right up to the larger Mego style that they did, sort of 12.5, perhaps even almost 13 inches tall, down slightly to the more current style action figure that people kind of recognise, the Sideshow type of thing. There's a variety of sizes. As I say, I'll start with the taller ones and then bring the smaller ones in. This was the first of the larger ones I did. This is a head sculpt, something I got on eBay. I think it was cast from a model kit, a resin garage kit, by a guy called Jim Maddox, I believe. A very, very good likeness to Adam. The costume was put together largely by myself. The grey jumpsuit was bought from the very well known Mego customiser, who's now producing Mego style toys officially, Dr. Mego. The suit was nice, but perhaps a little bit baggy, so I had to take it in a little bit to make it fit nice and snug. Not too much of a job, thankfully, but I did pretty much everything else. The boots, however, are from Wes McHugh, the classic plastic Captain Action repro guy. One of the very, very nicest blokes I've ever come across on the internet involved in this customising action figure thing. We've got to become quite good friends, I guess, as best as you can become friends with someone over the internet, but a very decent bloke. I did the trunks, I did the cufflets, and the fins, all cut from plastic or thin rubber sheeting and painted. I've learned over the years that rubber isn't the best thing to use because it doesn't really hold a paint too well unless it's a special rubber paint. I did the belt, but another guy very kindly, in the early days of me doing these belts and things, helped me out with the buckle. That's all hand cut, so that was a fantastic job. But that's the first of the tall ones I did. This is the most recent of the tall ones I did, perhaps about the most realistic that I've done in terms of looking like Adam as opposed to just an action figure. Wes McHugh boots and gloves, but again I did the rest. The jumpsuit was part of a huge lot of bits and pieces I bought on eBay some time back. I got that lovely buckle. I believe it's an Andy Garinger buckle, but I painted the head, made the cape, made the trunks, and made the belt aside from the buckle. Very pleased with that, very good likeness to Adam. I mean, you won't be able to see it too close, I'm sure. My apologies on that. This one was the first of the realistic type of figures I did. The body's perhaps a little bit too muscular. The head is perhaps a bit too small. It was one of these shrink blow up things. And I don't think this quite worked out when it was blown up to this size. It was originally sculpted as a replacement for the Aurora kit by a fella I believe on the internet called Dice Man. One of these sculpts went into the hands of one of these Mego custom head guys who was blowing it up and shrinking it down. That's a whole argument whether that's right or wrong. I mean, obviously Dice Man, I doubt, got a license to do that in the first place, but obviously two wrongs don't make a right. But nonetheless, it was available, I bought it, and I've got no intention of ever selling it, so it's my own enjoyment. I've learnt things along the way with these. They're always up for improvement, but rather than taking each one apart and changing them, I like them to sort of stay as they were when I made them, and I improve hopefully on the next one. This one, as I say, perhaps the body's a bit too muscular. The bib or the skirt, as they call it, of the cowl is maybe a bit too pointed at the bottom there rather than being rounded, but overall I was pretty pleased with it. This guy here was really not a great deal from me. It was a Wes McHugh Captain Action style thing. I did won a big lot of TV Batman custom parts on eBay, and there was a head, a mask. I had to repaint the mask, painted the head. The bodysuit wasn't. It's not a Wes McHugh one. but it's quite nice. I had to remake the trunks were too small, cut up far too high like bikini briefs as opposed to the sort of superhero trunks, so I had to redo the trunks. But the gloves and boots are Wes McHugh, so again very happy with that. Moving on to the first of the more realistic 8-inch style ones I did. This uses the Dice Man head but shrunk down. I made the cape, the trunks. The boots are classic Mego superhero boots, cut down to shape and size with a fin and painted to match the hands. All the time I buy the material first. They're all different materials. All of them look kind of right. Obviously I'm not saying they're 100% matches to the costume that Adam wore in terms of colour, but they're all pretty much close enough. I make my own belts. Perhaps the pouches are a little bit big on this, and again, as I've always said, it's a learning curve. I'm not saying they're perfect, but I do get a lot of enjoyment. I don't make any of them for sale or anything else, so it's not like I'm making them and selling them on and people are not happy with them. They're just purely for my enjoyment. But over the years I've had quite a few compliments on them, so and offers of people wanting me to make them for them. But I don't really want to get into that. It makes it too much of a business and not a fun hobby, which is what it always is to me. This is the most recent of the 8-inch ones. Completely different head. Not as good a likeness to Adam at all. There's obvious. This one here looks far much more like Adam West, the actor. This is closer perhaps to how Mego would have done a head if they had done a TV style Batman. But nicely done, kind of toy-like, which is something I like, not a problem for me. But I was very happy. Obviously the more I've done of these, I guess I'm getting better at doing the costumes. One of the best costumes I think I've done. Fits nice. Again, I always use, if I can, a classic Mego grey jumpsuit. Then I do trunks and make the belt, make the gloves, the cufflets, cut the boots down, paint them paint them the right colour. These are cut down Klingon style boots, which are much more snug fitting. They've even got some kind of wrinkling around the ankles to give them a more realistic look. I did the belt, and again I think I probably got the belt, the pouches almost in scale the right size there for Adam. Again, cape sewn by me. There you go. This has got a box to come, this one. Made by Mike Rogers, a very nice bloke that I've got to know on the internet over the years, who made this box. This was the kind of the figure that started me off on this whole custom thing actually. If they had made an official Adam West style at any point, I would have been happy with that, and I doubt that I would have decided to get into this custom thing. But this is made by Mike Rogers. It's the first Batman figure I ever did inside there. To be honest, very happy with him. If I'd never made another one I would have been pleased. I did this more in the classic Mego style. I used a dark blue kind of nylon fabric for the trunks and the cape. I used their Mr. Fantastic, Dr. Mego Mr. Fantastic Repro gloves, painted the colour to match. The belt was made for me at that point. It was before I knew how to do the belts, and a guy called Mike, who goes under the name of Wheezy Mule on the internet on a lot of the Batman sites, very kindly made this belt and sent it to me for nothing. So it does go to show that the internet isn't full of mad, horrible people. There's some very nice guys out there, and Mike ranks up there as one of the best of them. The box design is kind of my idea, but executed by Mike Rogers, done in the style of the classic Mego superhero boxes, but as if they were to have done TV superheroes. So you've got the TV versions of Batman, Robin and Superman and Tarzan, Ron Ely, but then I think rather than having Captain Marvel and Aquaman, I've dropped in the Green Hornet and Kato, or rather asked Mike to. Very nice design there at the side. There are a number of guys that do these boxes in this style, but I've seen examples of almost all of them. I own a few, but nobody compares to Mike. He's a very nice bloke. He knows exactly what I understand, what I'm on about when I ask for stuff. But anyway, there you go, my classic 1966 TV Batman action figure custom collection. I've got a few more which I'll share, so keep an eye out, and thanks for looking as ever, guys.